Hello friends, today our topic is the process to solution of the transportation problem. Now when we are starting to solve any transportation problem, there are some confusions: how to start, which method to use, what is the procedure next, then how to solve, what is the degeneracy, what is the maximization problem. So many confusions are there for any type of transportation problem. Today our topic is particularly based on the roadmap of any transportation problem. That means how to start a transportation problem, then what are the next step, which method we can use to solve, what may be the degeneracy, what may be the non-degeneracy, what may be the maximization problem, then what do you mean by the Modi method. So we start from the first one thing. Most of the cases we are given with the table from the for the transportation problem. Now when there is no table given, then we have to construct the table, and that is our first one thing. That means express the data in table form. So that is our first step. Next we have to check, is it a balanced problem or not. Let's start with some assumption. The assumptions in the transportation problem: first of all, the total quantity of the item available at different sources is equal to the total requirement at different destinations. What is transportation problem? Now transportation problem is based on the supply and demand of the products, then to minimize the transportation cost. Now when the supply and demand, that means it may be possible some products are coming from some sources and it is reaching to some destinations. Now there is no restriction. That means when the supply is going on, suppose there are plants A, plants B and plants C, and those are the markets, that means the destinations. So there is no restriction that the plant from the products from plant A must reach only one or two market. No, it may reach to any market. So that means from plant A, from to market P, Q, R, S, same as from plant B the products must reach to plant P, Q, R, S. So there is first of all no restriction. Then the second one, that is the true thing. Already we have said the item can be transported conveniently from all sources to destinations. Third one, the unit transportation cost of the item from all sources to destinations is certainly and precisely known. That means what the table say, that means the value. The transportation cost on a given route is directly proportional to the number of units shipped on that particular route. The objective is to minimize the total transportation cost. That is the main motto of the transportation problem. Another one thing, the supply and demand must be equal in the case of transportation. So first of all we have to proceed that, or we have to think that the transportation problem has been given in table format or not. If it is given in the written format, that means we have to construct the table. Then we have to check, is it balanced or not. Let's check with the problem. Suppose here, that is our departmental store, the table has been not given precisely directly. Our departmental store wishes to purchase the following quantities of ladies dresses. Dress type given A, B, C, D, 4 types, and the quantities are given also. For A, that is 150, for B, that is 100, for C, that is 75, and for D, that is 250. Now the tenders are submitted by 3 different manufacturers who undertake to supply not more than the quantities below. So the manufacturer are there 3 types, W, X and Y, and for the respective quantity for W, X and Y are 350, 250 and 150. The store estimates that its profit per days. So the table has been not given directly, but we are constructing it here. That means we are constructing A, B, C, D according to the column, that is the dress, and according to the manufacturer, that is W, X and Y. Now we are writing the supply and demand on the bottom and the right side of the table. So that is our first step. That means we are constructing the table from the data. Now the second problem or second question, is it balance problem? What is the balance problem? Now balanced means the total supply and demand must be equal. Let's check. 350 plus 250 plus 150, that one is equal to 750. From here 150 plus 100, that is 250, plus 250, that is 575. So that is not a balanced problem, that is unbalanced transportation problem. So when that is unbalanced transportation problem, that is our first checking. Second checking, what we have to do, if that is a balance problem, then there is no problem. But when that is not balanced, that means we have to add dummy row or dummy column to make it balanced. As here in the problem, given problem, the problem is not balanced, so we have to make it balanced. So that means what we have to do here, that is 750, but up to that was 575. So we are adding 175 as a dummy column here, and we are assigning the cell value 0, 0 and 0 for each and every cell here. So in that way we are making the transportation problem as balanced using dummy row or dummy column. So that is the thing, our third checking or third step. So first step, express the data in table form, then check is it balanced problem or not. If not balanced, then dummy row or dummy column has to be added and make it balanced. Then the next checking, is it a maximization problem? Now in the case of transportation, already we have said earlier that transportation means we have to make the transportation cost minimum. That means each and every transportation problem is particularly saying about the minimum cost. Now, when any problem is asking for the maximum profit, not about the minimization cost, it is asking for the maximization profit, then that type of transportation problem is particularly known as the maximization problem. Let's check for the same problem once again. Here the question is particularly the store estimates that its profit. So that means when the term or the word profit is connected with the problem, that means each and every time it is connected with the maximum profit. So that type of problem is particularly a maximization problem. So once again, if we go to the flow chart, then if it is a maximization problem, then convert it into a minimization problem by subtracting each element of the table from its highest element. Then find an initial basic feasible solution. Otherwise, if it is not a maximization problem, then find an initial basic feasible solution. As the problem already given here, that is a maximization problem, we will check how to find the solution for any maximization problem. But before, once again we are just concerning about find an initial basic feasible solution. Now what are the ways to find an initial basic feasible solution? Particularly there are so many ways. Most popular are number one, that is known as northwest corner rule. That is number one. Second one, most popular are matrix minima method, or that is also known as least cost method. And most popular are that is known as VAM, or the Vogel approximation method. So at first, as that maximization, it is a maximization problem, so we have to convert it into a minimization problem. Let's check how to convert it in a minimization problem and then how to find the initial basic feasible solution. Now when that is not a maximization problem, that step 6, that means the initial basic feasible solution has also to be obtained. So we are just proceeding to the step 5 and step 6 of the flowchart using that particular example. So we are proceeding to the problem. First of all, maximization problem, it was not balanced, so we are making it balanced. Then we are checking according to the problem, as it is a maximization problem, so we are making it a minimization table or minimization problem. And what to do for the minimization table? We are subtracting all the elements from the highest element of the complete table. In the complete table, the highest value is 4.75. So we are subtracting each and every value of each and every cell from that particular value 4.75. Suppose for the cell AW or the cell 11, 4.75 minus 2.75, that is 2. 4.75 minus 3.5, that is 1.25. In the same way, if we proceed to the dummy column, 4.75 minus 0, that is 4.75. 4.75 minus 0, that is 4.75, and for that one also 4.75. So in that way already we have found all the cell values subtracting from the maximum cell value 4.75, and also there, as we are subtracting 4.75 from 4.75, so there is a cell value that is converting to 0. That means the cell which is containing the maximum or the highest value itself is now has the 0 as the cell value. Next, in that moment, we are proceeding to the next step, and that we are trying to find out an initial basic feasible solution. And for that we are using the most popular method, that is known as VAM or Vogel approximations method. Here, although already the complete problem has been solved, once again we are just proceeding to the problem how to solve. Now the first one, we have to find out the penalty. That is our first step in the VAM. That means in the first row, which has the minimum value, now that one was 0.5. Next minimum value, that is 1.25. So we are subtracting those values, that means 1.25 minus 0.5, the penalty is here, that is 0.75. Next row, the minimum value, that was 0.25. Next minimum, that is 1.5. So penalty must be 1.5 minus 0.25, that one 1.25. For the third row, minimum value, that is 0, and the next minimum 1.25, so the penalty is 1.25. Now look at the columns. For the first column, minimum value was 1.75 and the next 2, so the penalty is 0.25. For the second column, minimum was 1.25 and also 1.25 here, so particularly the penalty would be 0 here. Next, for the column, that one minimum value was 0.25 and the next minimum is 0.5. So the subtracted value or the penalty is 0.25. Then for the fourth column, minimum value is 2.5 and next minimum 2.75. So once again the penalty is 0.25, and for the fifth column, all the values have the same value, that means 4.75. so the penalty is 0 here. Now we have to find out which one is our maximum penalty. Now we can see here that the second row has the 1.25 and the third row has 1.25. Both have the maximum penalty. At that moment we are choosing 1.25 for the third row. Now according to third row, we have to find out which cell value is the minimum. We can see here that 0 is the minimum cell value. So we are thinking about the row and column requirement and supply. Here according to column the value is 75 and according to row that is 150. So which one is the minimum? Now 75 is the minimum, so we are assigning 75 here. So that is becoming 0 and that is becoming 150 minus 75, that is 75. As already we have chosen the cell allocation according to the column, so we are crossing out the column C here. So next, once again we have to find out the next penalty. Now at that moment in the first row the minimum value is 1.25 and then the next minimum 2, so the penalty is 0.75. and in the same way in the second row that is 0.25, in the third row the penalty is 1, and according to column, first column 0.25, second column that must be also 0, the third column already has been crossed out, in the fourth column once again that is 0.25, in the fifth column that is 0. So which one is the maximum? Now maximum is that is the third row, or that is 1. So we are choosing once again the third row. Now at that moment which one has the minimum cell value? Now that is 1.25. so we are assigning values here. Now according to column there is 100, according to row there is 75. So which one is the minimum? Now 75, so we are assigning 75 here, so that is becoming 0, and also 100 minus 75, so that is 25 remaining. As we have already chosen it from the row, so we are already crossing out the third row also. So once again we have to check the penalties. Now in the first row the penalty is 0.75, second row 0.25, in the columns 0.25, 0.25, 0.5 and 0. So maximum penalty is 0.75, that is the first row. Now in the first row which one has the minimum cell value? That is 1.25. So here that is according to column 25 and according to row 350. So we are assigning 25 here, and that is also 350 minus 25, 325. So once again according to column that has been assigned or chosen, so we are crossing out that column also. Now for the next penalty finding out, that means 2.5 and 4.75, that is 2.25, 1. Oh sorry, in the next thing that is 2 and 2.5, so we are choosing penalty as 0.5. In the second row that is 1.75 and 3, so the penalty is 1.25, and according to column same, that is 0.25, 0.5 and 0. So maximum penalty that is 1.25, that means the second row. So now according to second row which one has the minimum value, cell value, that is 1.75. so here according to column that is 150 and according to row that is 250. So we are assigning 150 here, and that is becoming 100. 250 minus 150, that is 100. So as according to column that has been chosen, so we are also crossing out that column. So the next penalty for the first row that is 2.25, second row 1.75, for the fourth column that is 0.5 and fifth column 0. So maximum penalty 2.25. So according to first row minimum cell value 2.5, and we are choosing here that is 250 or 325, we are assigning 250 here, and 325 minus 250, that is 75. So we are crossing out as 250 has been chosen according to the column. So there are only two cells are remaining, that is 4.75, 4.75 and 0. So we are choosing any one. So for the first 4.75, that is 75 and that is 175. So we are choosing 75 here. So that is becoming 100, and for the last one cell, that is 100 and 100. So we are assigning 100 here. So finally we have to check what are the total number of cell assigned, and we can find here the total number of assigned cells are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. That means total number of assigned cells is equal to 7. Then we can say if m plus n minus 1, that means total number of row is equal to 3, total number of column is equal to 4, sorry here 5, and minus 1, that one is equal to 7. So we can say the problem is a non-degenerate. Once again, we proceeding to the flow chart. Yet now, whatever we have done, we have already expressing the data in the table format. Then we have checked it is balanced or not. If not balanced, add dummy row or the column, make it balanced. Then we have to find out is it maximization problem or not. If not maximization, if it is not maximization, then find the initial basic feasible solution using any one of the method, as we are using here VAM. Otherwise, if it is a maximization problem, convert it into a minimization problem. So yet now whatever we have done, we have found an initial basic feasible solution. Next, checking, is it degenerate? So that is our next step. What is degeneracy? Now degeneracy means total number of row, that is we are in the table, we are counting it as suppose m. Total number of column, we are counting it as suppose n, minus 1. That must be our total number of allocated or assigned cell. If that is true, then we can say it is a non-degenerate problem. Otherwise, if we have m plus n minus 1 is greater than the total number of allocated cell, then we are saying it as a degenerate solution or degenerate problem. So is it degenerate? If degenerate, then we have to remove degeneracy by assigning epsilon or very small number of positive value to the appropriate cell. A separate video is there to solve a degenerate problem. You may check. Otherwise, if it is not degenerate, that means non-degenerate, then we have to proceed to the optimality checking. And for the optimality checking, whatever we have to use, now we have to use the Modi method. And Modi method also known as sometimes UV method for the optimality checking. So yet now for the problem, we have found an initial basic feasible solution using VAM. No degeneracy has been found, so we can simply overlook that step, that means the 8 here, but we have to proceed to the optimality checking or the Modi method here. So we are proceeding to the problem. In that problem, once again we are saying total number of row is equal to 3 plus total number of column is equal to 5. So the value is m plus n minus 1 is equal to 7, and the total number of cell allocations are also 7. So that is a non-degenerate problem. So we don't have to solve for the degeneracy. Now what is the initial basic feasible solution here? Look at the table once again. That is not according to the minimization table. The initial basic feasible solution has been obtained using the original table for the problem. Suppose that one. Here we have allocated 25, but that is based on the 1.25 that was found from the minimization table. Now which one is the main table? Now in the main table that was 3.5. So we are assigning here or using the main table, that is 3.5. Just for another checking, for the minimization table that was 0, but in the main table that was 4.75. So we are using 4.75 the cell value here. So for the initial basic feasible solution we are using the main table or the cell values. So using the main table or the cell values, the initial basic feasible solution has been obtained, and that one is 1718.75. Solution is non-degenerate. So we are checking for the optimality and we are using Modi method or UV method. Now what is the Modi method or the UV method? We have to use some variables. As there are 5 columns, we are using here 5 variables for V, V1, V2, V3, V4 and V5, and there are 3 rows, so U1, U2 and U3. Now check whatever we are using here, that is according to the minimization table. Whatever we are using here, that is according to our minimization table. When we are finding the initial basic feasible solution, that is we are using the main table. But once again, when we are using the Modi method, we are using the minimization table. Now which row or column has the maximum cell allocation? We can see in the first row there are maximum cell allocation. So we are assigning u1 as 0. So according to that, we can say u1 plus v5 is equal to 4.75. That is u1, that is v5. As u1 is 0, so we can simply say v5 is equal to 4.75. Now the next one, that one is u1 plus v4, and that one is 2.5. As u1 is 0, so we can say v4 is equal to 2.5. Next, for that cell, u1 plus v2 is equal to 1.25. u1 is 0, so we can say v2 is equal to 1.25. Now choose that cell. That one is u2 plus v5. As v5 is 4.75, so we can simply say u2 is equal to 0. Now for that cell, that one is u2 plus v1 is equal to 1.75. u2 is equal to 0, so we can say v1 is equal to 1.75. In the same way, we can find out the other values, that means v2 and v3, and those are the values from u1 to v5. Now the next cell, and that is treated as or named as Cij. What is Cij? Now Cij is particularly the matrix which are for unallocated cell. Look, those cells were first allocated in the minimization table. Now those are unallocated cell. Now Cij are the original values from the minimization table for the unallocated cell that has been written here. Just check here. That one was first time, that one was 0.5. So those are the 1.5, 0.25, 3. So those are the cell values for the unallocated cell has been written in the Cij. Next matrix is for the ui plus vj. Now what is ui plus vj? Same, we have to choose the unallocated cell. Now as we already know, suppose that one, that cell value indicates u1 plus v1. Now u1 is equal to 0, v1 is equal to 1.75, so that is 1.75. Suppose that one is u1 plus v3. Now u1 is also 0, v3 is also 0, so we are getting 0 here. For that one, suppose that one is for u2, that one is for v2, so that one is u2 plus v2. Now u2 has the value 0, v2 has 1.25, so that one is 1.25. That one u2 plus v3, u2 is equal to 0, v3 is equal to 0, so the cell value is 0. In the same way, we can find out all the unallocated cell from the u1 to v5 cell values or the variable values. Now we have to found another cell, and that is Dij, and Dij means Cij minus ui plus vj. Just look at Cij and ui plus vj here. 2 minus 1.75, so the result is 0.25. 0.5 minus 0, that is 0.5. 1.5 minus 1.25, so that must be 0.25. 0.25 minus 0, that is 0.25. 3 minus 2.5, 0.5. 2.25 minus 1.75, that is 0.5, and 2.75 minus 2.5, that is 0.25. 4.75 minus 4.75, that is 0. So all the Dij is greater than equal to 0, all the values. So we can say the optimality has been obtained. If any one of the Dij less than 0 formed, then we have to proceed to the looping, or we have to form a loop. That is also another video has been there to find out when any type of Dij is less than 0 obtained. So once again we are proceeding to the flow chart. So that means first of all, if we have to form the table, that is our first step, then check it is a balanced problem or not. If it is not balanced, then we have to make it balanced, that is our third step. Then check is it a maximization problem. If maximization problem, make it a minimization problem. Otherwise, find the initial basic feasible solution. If it was a maximization problem, then you have to make it minimization problem, then make it a or find it the initial basic feasible solution using any one of the three methods, most preferably using VAM. Then after finding the initial basic feasible solution, you have to check is it degenerate. If degenerate, then remove the degeneracy. Either it is not degenerate, then use the Modi method or the UV method. Then the next step, if all the Dij is less than equal to 0 or greater than equal to 0, if Dij is greater than equal to 0, that means Dij not less than equal to 0, then terminate the process or the result has been obtained. Otherwise, you have to construct the loop and adjust allocation to revise the current solution. Then once again we have to proceed to the Modi method or the optimality method until all the Dij greater than equal to 0 has been found or not. After finding all the Dij greater than equal to 0, we have to terminate the process. Now there is another one thing, if is it degenerate or after the Dij or the less than equal to 0 has been found, check the rim conditions, particularly that is an external factor. We don't think about that, so we have to think in that way. First, once again we are just saying the roadmap, construct the table, check balanced or not. If not balanced, make it balanced. Then check is it maximization problem. If not maximization, then find the initial basic feasible solution. Otherwise, make it or convert it into a minimization problem. Then find the initial basic feasible solution. Then check is it degenerate. if degenerate, resolve the degeneracy, otherwise proceed to the optimality check using Modi method. In case of Modi method, after that, if all the Dij greater than equal to 0 or positive, then the final solution has been obtained or terminate the procedure. Otherwise, you have to make it the construction of loop and allocation adjacency. Then once again do the Modi method or check for optimality up to all the Dij is greater than equal to 0 or positive, and that is the roadmap of the transportation problem. For the problem whatever we have done here, example, finally as here all the Dij has been greater than equal to 0, so the optimality has been obtained here, so we are getting the result that is previously found, and that is our optimal result.